Hello, welcome back. I actually had my first West End audition in a few years, and it's for an absolute dream show. And I really enjoyed the process of auditioning, which didn't think I would ever say that because when you first start auditioning, like it can be a bit daunting and like your legs are shaking and stuff. But it was really fun, it was really beautiful, and it made me realize like I do want to continue working in musical theatre and acting, making music. So yeah, it was just a sign like we're on the right path. Anyway, so we need to talk about grinding until you burn out. Let's talk about it. When I was I want to say like 16, I had two jobs where I was working at Clark's and also Pizza Express. This was in one summer because I was going to drama school. Maybe I was 17 actually. Basically, I was going to go to drama school in London and I just wanted to save up as much money as possible. So I was working two jobs. And then during this time, like I was going through a lot of stuff, basically like in my home life and my personal life. So I was just in this state of like, I have to move to London. I have to get out of this small town. I've got to like pursue my dreams. And yes, I stand by that thought. But at the same time, like I was just like, I need to escape the situation that I'm in, which is so valid. During that time, I found this motivational speaker called Dr. Eric Thomas, and I love him. He's great. He got me through some very tricky times. But his advice was really like, you have got to work hard, you've got to grind. I get up at 3:00 in the morning and no one's gonna outwork me. Like I'm gonna be the greatest, so I'm gonna like work so hard. And yes, that is so important. It's really important to get really clear on what you want. And then he said like, you gotta know what you want and then spend the rest of your natural life getting up and going after it. I do very much agree with that sentiment of like, in order to get anywhere, like successful in whatever field or life goal that you want, you have to be really clear. So it's not going to like you're not going to accidentally manifest your dream life, you know, like you have to be like, what does that look like? You know, like how much money do you want to make a year? Like, what do your relationships look like? Who are your friends? Like, what do you spend your money on? Like, who do you work with? Just like, where do you live? How much is your rent? Do you own the house? You know, just where are your dream holidays, etc. Getting really clear on like what you want, so then you know like when you're on the right track to getting your dream life, because you'll start to look around you and be like, oh wow, like actually I did want all of this stuff. Like it didn't just magically happen. And of course things can come up that you never even knew existed. That's really exciting. But it all came from you knowing what you actually wanted. So I do agree with that part. The bit that tripped me up, because I was such a literal kid, was the fact that it was like, oh, I've got to work like so incredibly hard. And I was already teetering on the edge of burnout from like said personal like traumas that were repeated and like kept happening. So, and not to compare circumstances, because he talks about his circumstances a lot, that he was like homeless and eating out of trash cans, and that he ended up still studying, going back to university, getting that PhD, like working incredibly hard to completely change the circumstances 180, like for the better. Amazing, so inspiring. For me, at digesting this advice, like maybe it works for say like men, or I don't want to generalize like this, but as a woman, that we have like cycles, and it's not, and also like living with a disability, these like energy cycles are really like almost limited. Not to say that I have like I can't do certain things, but at the same time, like you have to be aware that if you have certain like barriers such as a disability or just being aware of your own energy and what you're able to give. Because for me, I was like running on about 10%, trying to give 120% and coming up short repeatedly, and just feeling so exhausted and so like down on myself, because I was like, oh, I'm not like, I also had these unrealistic goals at the time. Like, yes, I knew my dream life, but I was putting a time frame on it. Like, by 18, I'm going to be on the West End. By 20, I'm going to be on Broadway. Like, that's not really for me to say, like, when the opportunities will come. It's not me to know the timeline. It is up to me to set the intention and then work on it. You know, Dr. Eric Thomas also says small steps, great distances. And I live by that quote very much so. It's the taking the little baby steps. Like, you took the big goals, huge life, amazing like mission, like you want to accomplish these amazing things, like this is your dream life. Then you work backwards all the way down to like, what are the small steps that you can take today or this week, this month, to like slowly encourage change to expand into your life. Because for me, I was trying to do like the biggest thing ever. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I have to get up and do like 3 hours of ballet every day and 3 hours of songwriting. And it was like, I was setting this unrealistic timings for myself, because yes, I would do it once and then be so exhausted by it that I would never do it again. And obviously, doing 1 3-hour class of ballet once for like 6 months is so inefficient than if I had done, say, like 5 to 10 minutes a day, started so small and then built it up. Because we can always build up and then we can always take breaks. But to set that unrealistic expectation for myself was really damaging for my mental health, because I basically wanted to build trust in myself, but then I was constantly setting an expectation that if I didn't do, say, 4 hours of songwriting, then I was like a failure, or like that I wasn't doing enough, or even worse, that I just didn't want it enough. And that's so crazy to me now, because of course I wanted it, which I don't know, like that, this whole sentence feels really weird to say, like, you don't want it enough. Like, what does that even mean? Of course I want my dream life. Of course I want to change my circumstances. And it's not that I was making excuses for myself. It was actually that I was holding myself to such a standard that I was not able to sustain it. That I kept like feeling that stuck energy of like, I want this thing. I'm trying to do this thing and I keep like bumping my head against the wall. Like, it's not working. Like, is there something wrong with me? And the answer is, of course, no. The answer is to break it down. And if you're looking at your tasks and it's still so big, you haven't chopped it down enough. Like, honestly, sometimes my task looks like reply to this email, and that's the only thing that I'm gonna like hold myself to. And even if that doesn't happen because I feel so overwhelmed, or I like my nervous system, this is another thing, is if you don't have a relaxed nervous system, if you're in fight or flight and you're trying to hold yourself to such standards, you're gonna find it really, 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 really difficult, because your body is in this like hyper aware state. Like, this is some of my like PTSD symptoms of like constantly being hyper vigilant and like hyper aware of stuff. And it was actually, again, it was quite damaging for me to be like, I must do XYZ, when instead it was like, I must just be gentle to myself. I must be kind to myself. I must give myself a hug and tell myself it's going to be okay. I must make my nervous system relaxed and able to then show up for myself in the way that I want to show up for myself. But it starts with regulating your nervous system, taking that action to make sure that you're okay, and to know that you are safe is so important. Knowing that you're safe is number one. And then we can add on like a reply to this email. Because my nervous system tends to think that replying to an email or replying to my friend's text message is the same as being chased by a bear. And that, of course, is not true. It's not true. And this is still something I kind of go back and forth between like struggling with, but ultimately I've prioritized my health and my mental health instead of prioritizing the grind. There is this rhetoric, especially in London, especially of what I've observed in like the acting scene, the music scene, creative scenes, but also I think this applies to most fields. I can't speak on behalf of all fields because I have not experienced all. But there's this rhetoric, especially in London, that you have to grind. You have to work so hard because you're competing against everyone and everyone is your competition and there's not enough space in the space. There's not enough jobs in the space, which, yeah, is probably true. But that you're fighting against everyone and you have to grind and you have to grind until you burn out. You have to grind until you burn out? If you burn out, then you're ill. And if you're ill, you can't work. This rhetoric makes no sense to me. And I really felt that pressure of like, I need to be like making moves and doing these amazing things. Otherwise, like, I don't know, I'm not trying hard enough. And I completely burnt out to the point of getting seizures. Trauma-related seizures, yes. I now know a couple other people that have it too. So, but at the time I was like, oh, okay. What? Like, I didn't know that was a thing. Did not know that existed. But stress it's a killer. Stress will give you a chronic illness. Like, if you grind until you burn out, your body will literally shut down. It will manifest as chronic illness. I know one of my friends got endometriosis from stress. Like, stress is so bad for you. It literally like shuts everything down. So if we can get to a point where we're taking care of ourselves and not judging ourselves for not doing enough, then we can work from there. And not everyone starts on the same like level playing ground. Like, some people need more love and care towards themselves in order to make those small steps, and some people can just get up and do those small steps. Both are so valid. I just think it's very important to not tunnel towards burning out, because if you can avoid it, I would recommend avoiding it. Like, apparently, according to science, this is potentially not 100% correct, but apparently it takes 5 years to recover from burnout, maybe 7 years. Can't remember the exact figure. 5 years, I think. So, yeah, next year, hopefully, will be my final I've recovered from burnout. And actually, I do feel like I am very much on the way to that. Because this time last year, I was really struggling with the fact that I wanted to be on the West End and like get back into musical theatre. But I was like, if I was handed my dream contract right now, I don't think I would be able to do 8 shows a week. Like, I was so poorly to the point that if I went outside, then I would need 2 to 3 days to recover, and was basically bedbound for the whole day, for like 2 days, 3 days. Yeah. So then untangling the like, oh, I should be further ahead in my life. Like, I'm behind in life. Oh, I'm 25 and I've not done anything. Like, my goodness, that is a baby. You are a baby. And it's okay to take your time, and you're never starting from zero. I always thought like, oh, I've paused it. Like, not even I've paused it, I've stopped it and now I have to start again. Like, no, you're never starting from zero, because you're just say to yourself something like, I'm choosing to resume. I'm choosing to return to this. And it's okay. Like, It's not that deep, sis. That's one of my life mottos as well, is small steps, great distances, and also it's not that deep, sis. Because we have to, especially as artists, like care so deeply about the work, but also know that it's not that deep. Like it's so deep and not that deep, all at the same time. Both are true. Both are true. And those are my thoughts for today is if I could go back, I mean, I don't like to think that if I could change things, I would. If I could speak to my younger self, then I would. Maybe if I was speaking to my sister or my little cousins, I would say something like this of like, if you can avoid burning out, I would definitely opt in for that option. Like, it's a very painful process. I do think everything happens for a reason. So in my journey, I needed to learn these lessons. I also had this really big, maybe not issue, but like that I would constantly I literally forgot what I was going to say. Sometimes this happens. I have a part in my brain that sometimes forgets exactly what I'm trying to say. I think maybe it's like a coping mechanism of like, we don't want to be vulnerable because vulnerable equals like danger. And again, that's not true. Oh yeah, I remembered. So I always had this thing growing up of like, my mum would say something like, oh, you need a bit of a rocket up your ass. Like, you need to really have a bit more oomph. A little bee in your bonnet, maybe. And I feel like I finally have that now of like, I move now like there's urgency, but I'm also aware that time is finite and that my lifetime is finite, but that I have so much time. And like, I know all of these things don't make sense to say out loud as a full sentence, but I know that they all exist and it's all true, and that I just get up every day and I try my very best, even if my very best, because basically this week I've been quite poorly. I think it was mainly like a head cold or something like this, and I'm on the tail end now, but I was like so exhausted, and then yesterday I was quite ill, and then today I'm feeling on the mend, but taking it easy. And instead of like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, blah, 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 like, I chose to rest. I chose to not do nothing, because I still did like little bits, and I was like, yay, I opened my website, or I replied to an email, yay, and just celebrating, like actually celebrating small wins, not just concepts of celebrating a small win, like, oh, well done me, but to actually be like, you did that, well done, like, that's amazing, I'm so proud of you, I love you so much. And this is what like radical self-love and acceptance looks like. I'm just being like, look at us go, like, yay. You're like, almost like you're parenting yourself. Like, how would you speak to your like little baby self? Like, oh my gosh, yeah, you did such a good job. Like, come into 2026 with me. Like, we're so great. And just doing this little reinforcement, just kind of like positively brainwashing yourself, because like if your ex can like gaslight you into thinking that you're nothing, then you can gaslight yourself into thinking that you are amazing and that you are enough, and that you like are so proud of yourself for getting up and just doing things, and like, well done you. And yeah, it's a snowball effect. Like, I chose rest yesterday, I'm choosing rest again, but like a little bit, like I'm following my curiosities. Basically yesterday I was like really wanting to do an MA, which I'm not sure why. I thought also, like, what would I do it in? Stunning questions. I don't think I've always said like, I don't want to go back to school. Like, you know, I've done it now, I've done the uni thing. But I really wanted to either study like art, like visual arts, to kind of develop my creative practice. But I already do that. Like, do I need to be studying that? Or studying musical theatre at Royal Academy of Music? Because some of my friends did that course and they were like, Helena, you need to do that course. I was like, money, I don't know. But yeah, like, I think I was just craving knowledge and a thirst for, learning things off of people that are experts in their field. Like, that's so exciting to me. So yeah, I basically found like University of Yale, Harvard University, I think Berkeley, they all have like free courses that you could just sign up for. So I just started watching this Yale University Intro to Modern Poetry because it's something that I'm interested in, and I want to like have a little read, have a little dabble, learn a little bit. Yes, I don't think I will be pursuing an MA, but I'm glad that those thoughts came up and that I followed it, and then I was able to find these like free courses to maybe have a look at. At the same time, I also think like I don't want to use it as procrastination. So like, but then I'm not anymore. So it's okay. These are the kind of thoughts that swirl around in my head all the time of like, I know that I was using, when I was living in London, the creative scene, like going to events and stuff, as procrastination, because like, oh, networking is still working. But it's like, then I was ignoring things like, I know that I want to build up my YouTube channel, but then I would just be ignoring it because I'd be going to parties and stuff. So it's like how to build consistency in the things that you know are going to unlock that dream life for you. It's kind of like your subconscious trying to keep you where you are in the comfort zone, because the comfort zone is quite comfortable. We know it, it's familiar. Someone said things aren't hard, they're just unfamiliar. So like continuing to show up and do YouTube is unfamiliar, but we can do it. Here we are, week 3, consistency. It's happening. If you have any questions or any specific topics that you want to discuss, like I'm open to hearing some suggestions, but I do love a yap, a little turn on the camera and talk. I don't plan out these episodes. Sometimes I'll have like a thought of what to call it and then just go from there. So I'm not sure what this will be called. Maybe like burnout, grind till you burn out, but then it's like, surprise, don't do that. Not sure. But if you got this far, thank you so much for listening or watching. Please drop a little heart in the comments so I know that you got this far. But this is just for us if you've made it this far. Thank you for listening and watching. I will see you next week for week 4. That's like a whole month of consistency. Like that might be the most amount of consistent that I've ever been. Okay. Just it's the start of beautiful things, beautiful new things. My name is Helena Yasmin. I am a music artist. Feel free to check out my music. I'm writing a musical called Hot Girls Have Trauma that is debuting next week. I've been working on this musical a little bit this week, but like I said, I've been a bit ill, so I had to like pause it, but I'm excited. It's the work in progress. It's the first like showing of it properly. I'm so excited. I also do visual arts, and I'm curating a gallery called Snailing Home, which is about belonging, finding your roots. Where do you belong? Where have you been? Where have you lived? Where will you trail to? Which I'm also very excited about. I would love to debut that on my birthday, which is December 1st. But we'll see. We'll see where we land. Okay. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.